Whew, it is warm in here. We've gone, I'm getting dewy by the nose. We've gone from like almost freezing temperatures back up to like 17 or 18 degrees, and it's very, very warm in this studio right now. Okay, what is this? This is week 34 of my social isolation Get Ready With Me's, and it was a close call this week on what I was going to be filming with, but I am going to be using the Zoeva Matte Spectrum palette. I bought this in Australia a few years ago now, and it's an all matte palette. It's almost a little bit rainbow-esque, but not quite. Is that true? Mostly only really because I think it's missing a true yellow in here. But we're going to be doing an all matte look today, which I'm very much looking forward to because I really like this palette. So what a week this has been. Oh my god. Starting off with the election stuff, and then it just kind of like dragging out for days and days. So the election was what? Tuesday? And even the Canadian news networks were incredibly stressful to watch. Like, most of it was just like condemning Trump and all that kind of stuff, which is what I like to hear, but it was so stressful watching the news stations about it that I often, when I was watching it, because I was like, had it on one screen while I was gaming on another screen, I'd often have to turn the audio off just so I could like reset my mentality, because it just was having me like spiral into this like negativity circle kind of thing. It was really weird. I've never really experienced anything like that, but I was definitely having to mute the audio because of that. Anyway, so we now know that Biden is basically going to be the president. Like, it hasn't really fully been confirmed, but I mean, I think it's indisputable at this point. But it was looking really bad there for a while, wasn't it? Between, well, Nevada taking forever to count their votes. The memes about Nevada have been absolutely hysterical on the internet. And I know it's not something that we should necessarily be laughing about, but man, I needed some stress relief, and those memes were definitely helping me out with that. And then Georgia, and then Pennsylvania flipping too. But I think the thing that scared me the most out of all of this is that I wasn't expecting the support for Trump to still be this high. I didn't think it was going to be this close of a race for the presidency. Because I had thought that everybody who was sort of on the fence about voting for him last time, but did vote for him, Trump, would then realize how stupid they had been and would switch their votes this time. But it was a friggin' close race, and I honestly actually find that a little bit more frightening now, knowing that, because there's a lot more people who are still in support of him than I would have ever expected. Okay, moving on to actual makeup. So the Matte Spectrum palette. I'm kind of feeling a little bit of a gray moment right now, or a dark blue. I kept my wall just the actual pink color behind because I wanted something that's sort of like that, sort of like my nails kind of thing. How am I going to start this off though? I believe I'm going to start with, what color? Oh, they have no actual names. They're all numbers. MT030. Taking that shade. And I'm just throwing that through my crease. There's not much tone to this, as you can see. So yeah, Joe Biden will be president, thank heavens. And Kamala Harris is going to be vice president. So we have a female vice president who's not even a white person, which is amazing. It's friggin' nice to see some diversity in there. I mean, there's still an old white man in the office, like at the top, but like, it's moving in the right direction. Oh, and I've also thoroughly been enjoying watching Trump flip out on Twitter. Like, every single one of his tweets is just lunacy, like absolute chaotic lunacy. Like, the guy's lost his marbles, and I just love how Twitter has marked all of his stuff like basically either inaccurate or unconfirmed, and that there's like flags all over his Twitter account about his stuff being just misinformation, and I am living for it. He will never accept in his head the fact that he lost the presidency, though. He will always, lost it because he was voted out. He will always think that it was due to voter fraud, though, which is kind of disappointing because I really would like him to acknowledge the fact that people don't want him in office. That being said, there was still an awful lot of people who did vote for him. Anyway, I need to move off this topic. There's been enough of this all week. Okay, so next I'm going to take M20 over here, which is basically like a bone type color. I'm gonna put that all over the lid. I essentially want to make this look fairly pale on the lid and then have like some grays and purples out here. Well, blues and purples, because there's no true gray in this palette. pigmented. Oh, I forgot something that I was going to do before I started putting eyeshadows on. I wanted to put on liner first because I want to create kind of like a smoky edge there. So before I continue with the eyeshadows, I'm going to go in with my NARS Kohl pencil. This is in the shade Zinc. It came out a while ago with the Charlotte Gainsbourg collection. It was in my project pan before that got blown up by this year. And I'm just going to layer it right at the edge, as close to my lashes as I can possibly get it, because I want it to get between the lashes too. Actually, I'll just tight line with it as well. And then I want to smudge that out, so I'm going to take a pencil brush. Actually, this one will do. It's kind of just like a smaller one. I'm just going to smudge it. Not entirely sure that's what I'm going for, but let's keep going with it. Shoot. Ugh. That's how pigmented that shadow is. It just covered up the dark gray liner. Okay, for the outer corner, I'm going to be taking 110 over here. I'm just going to plop that on and drag it up and pull it through my crease. Okay, good. It's doing what I wanted there, where the liner's sort of like fading into the eyeshadow. And then I want to add some purple in there, so I'm going in with 100 over here, and I'm just going to put that sort of on the middle of my lid, right between where the blue is connecting to the white. It's not sticking as well as I would like it to. See, I've got that like patch in the middle. Okay, it's kind of working if I really pack it on, but I probably should have done this as a better gradient, like the pale white gray to the purple pink to the blue, as opposed to trying to add the purple afterwards. Oh well, you try things out and you learn some. Okay, I sort of ended up getting the effect that I was going for, so I'm happy. I just had to do a lot of patting back and forth between the purple, the blue, and then the white. For my brow bone highlight shade, I'm just using 10 up here. Oop, can't even see that. There we go. And then because those shadows are so pigmented, they've covered the bulk of the liner. I'm going to go back in with my liner and just add a little bit to the edge here. Okay, so for face, gonna go with an old favorite now. This is the Inglot Beautifier Tinted Cream in the shade 103. And just applying that with my damp beauty blender. So this past week, so happy about this, I managed to go out for 3 runs, which is very exciting because throughout this pandemic, I have not been very good about staying on track with my physical activity. And not being as physically active has definitely affected how I feel. And I noticed a massive difference this past week just by making sure I went out for 3 runs. So I ran Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then I walked for like an hour on Tuesday and Thursday. And holy smokes, I just felt so much better. I had so much more energy. I just felt so much more alive. And it's been a struggle to force myself to exercise throughout this pandemic. I've still been doing it, but it's been very half-hearted. But I think just getting back into a more normal routine is going to help immensely. Because again, like I said, it just feels better. And I've definitely only really been managing like maybe a run once a week, which is just, it's not enough really. There was a comment I saw on someone's video, or maybe it was in her video, Allison Anderson, who used to be called Amariques, one of those old school beauty YouTubers whom I still watch. She doesn't talk about makeup much anymore. But she mentioned how time seemed to be moving slow and fast, and she said that one of her subscribers pointed out why it feels that way. Because time is still passing on, so obviously it's still moving along, but our life is on hold because we can't really do anything. And I was like, that nails it. That's exactly why I feel like time is flying by, but also moving at a crawl as well. Because it's been like, what, 8 months now since we've been in this pandemic, and I can't believe we're gonna come up on like basically a year. Like, what? What happened to the last year, essentially? And yeah, time moves on, and it just feels freaking bizarre. Yeah, so like the whole life being on hold thing, you can't plan trips, you can't plan to do anything. You really, most people aren't seeing their family right now. Like it's rough. Everything's on hold. And I've said it before, but the saddest part is that we have no idea when it's going to end either. For bronzer today, I'm going to be using one by Kohl. I haven't used this in a really long time, but I love this one. This is their matte bronzer in the shade Light Tan. Ontario's cases are going way up right now too. I think we had over 1,100 cases. It's the highest it's ever been. Like, this is worse than it was, I think, back in March or April. I don't think the hospitals are as swarmed as they were back then, but like, I don't think we've ever had this many cases before. And it's unfortunate too, because we've already gone through the summertime, right? So the time where the virus was less active, if that's what you want to call it, was during the hotter months. And now that we're approaching colder months, it's going to be flaring back up again. And it's so funny to me, when I go out for my run, I still see people in restaurants. I mean, they're on patios outside, but I'm like, is this really worth it to you to like be going out for a lunch or a dinner in public? Like, why can't you just stay home? Like, I acknowledge the fact that I'm outside running, and I'm having to dodge people. Like, I try to give as much space as I can. I just can't imagine going to a restaurant right now. Like, I know restaurants need money and independent or small businesses need money as well, and servers need money too, but like, and we should support local and all that kind of stuff to like help them through this. But at the same time, I can't imagine putting myself at risk as well as other people, because like the servers are going to be exposed to everybody, and yeah, they're wearing masks, but it's just frustrating. Okay, for blush, I'm going to be using this one by Hourglass. It's from like one of their old ambient lighting holiday palettes, but the shade is still available as a single, and that is Mood Exposure. And then for highlighter, I don't know how this is going to go because I don't really think it's bright enough as a highlighter, but we're going to give it a shot. So this is the Kevin Aucoin, the Neo Limelight in Ibiza. Did you say Ibiza or Ibiza? It's an iridescent glow. So this is pretty because it's got like these two tones in here, and I liked it because it kind of matched the sort of eye look I'm going for. But I don't know if this is going to be like that reflective. Like, that doesn't look very shimmery, but let's give it a shot. Whoa, that kicks up a crap ton of powder. Is that doing anything? Oh, there we go. Got a little bit. So funny. In the camera, it looks like it's more reflective than what I see in the mirror I've got here. That's weird. Huh. Okay, that did more than I expected, because in a swatch, this just looks like absolutely nothing. Okay, that's face done. That was really quick. Let's zoom back in and finish up the eyes. So I'm going to keep this straightforward. I'm going back in with my Kohl pencil and lining the lower lash line and the waterline. And on a very tiny brush, I'm just going back in with our outer corner color and then just smearing that along my lower lash line. Smearing, smudging. And then just to brighten up the inner corner, I'm going in with the same color that I use on the brow bone and then putting that on the inner corner. Just lighten it up. Ooh, that is a lot brighter than the other color, than the lid one. Okay, mascara, lashes, and brows are done. Now it's just lips. So I think I'm going to go in with this Bite Power Move Creamy Matte Lip Crayon in the shade Cava, which I'm pretty sure this is a shade that they've replicated many times in like this pen style one. Ooh, I really like that. I don't often wear a lot of cool toned lip colors. I just don't own a lot, really. I'm not drawn towards them, but they do work out really well with a look like this. Okay, so that is the finished look. How bad is my hair kink here? Not too bad. I'm really happy with how this look came out. I generally have been doing quite a lot of warm toned looks lately, so it's nice to do something a little bit cooler toned, and I really like how this one came out. So I know it's been a stressful week, especially for the Americans out there. We are mostly through it. Thankfully, the election has gone the way a lot of the world wanted it to. And I hope that if you're in the US, especially, that you're doing okay. And hopefully with a new president coming in, there's some hope for the future that is not led by an insane lunatic in the White House. Jeez, I don't even know what to say about him. There's just been so many ridiculous things that he's said and done that it's unfathomable that somebody like that ever ended up becoming the president. Anyway, I hope you're doing okay. Thank you so much for joining me this week, and I will see you next time. Bye.